Okay. Well, look, to answer that question, it's, I think, instructive to look at the wider picture, which will have an influence on the consulting industry worldwide. So if we look at these four areas, the economic climate, for example. Now, consultancy tends to do pretty well whether the economy is good or whether it's bad. You know, if the economy is bad, consultants get called in by organizations to advise them how they can survive for the next 3 months. But generally speaking, the economic climate is good as it is at the moment, and organizations have got money to spend on consultancy to help them understand what they need to do to grow perhaps over the next 3 to 5 years. So with the exception of a few places, you know, maybe the Russian Federation, where the consultancy industry has been affected by economic sanctions and the fall of the price of oil impacting on the local economy and therefore impacting on the consultancy firm spend, things are generally looking pretty good in the consulting industry worldwide, and the expected growth of the industry worldwide in 27 could be as much as 7%. So that's a good sign. We also need to look at what's going on in politics, because that again has an influence on businesses and the economy and on consultancies. So sitting here in London, the two big topics are, no surprise, Brexit and what President Trump is doing across the Atlantic. One of the issues coming out of Brexit, and indeed what President Trump wants to change, is the effect on trade, making trade perhaps a little bit more restricted. And so that is having an impact on the consultancies, who are finding that they're giving more advice around perhaps recalibrating supply chains. Working practices are changing too. For a long time, there's been a lot of outsourcing to foreign countries of back office functions. And now there's just the start of that being brought back to the home country, or to be near-shored. And that's partly the impact of a piece of technology, which we'll talk about in a moment, and then technology itself. So much is changing, rapidly changing in the world of technology, that businesses find it difficult to keep up, so they need to bring in the consultancies to give them advice. So if we look at what's going on in technology, the big one is digital transformation. I'll talk about that at the moment. But we've also got issues around artificial intelligence, all these smart apps connected to the Internet of Things are doing different things now in processes, automating them and making them much faster and much more efficient. And then we've got something coming up on the horizon called robotic process automation. Now, RPA is, to put it in simple terms, it's technology to reduce or eliminate the need for people to perform high-value back-office processes. So what's that going to mean for organizations if they start to strip out layers of people doing these basic back-office operations? They will need to bring in the consultancies to help them sort that out. And finally, cyber security. Security on the web is just so important these days, particularly in the financial services area. So we've got special fintech apps now to deal with financial security. We've got related areas like blockchain and so forth. So there's a lot of stuff coming out from the technology angle that the consultancies are being called in to advise upon.